When we talk about gender-based harassment, our minds usually go straight to the loudest, most aggressive examples we see in the headlines. We tend to measure discrimination by looking for obvious villains, people actively promoting hostility or inciting violence. In the study of bias, these highly visible actions are categorized under specific terms: deeply entrenched views and extremist leadership. By fixating entirely on these loud, aggressive acts, we miss the quiet, everyday habits that actually lay the groundwork for systemic inequality. This diagram shows the 6 stages framework, a diagnostic tool developed by Dr. Shungu to map exactly how individuals respond to sexism and gender diversity. The bottom half forms the negative axis. It tracks a downward slide from stage -1 to -6, defined entirely by resistance and exclusion. Those aggressive, headline-grabbing behaviors we usually focus on, they only exist down here at the very bottom, in stages -5 and -6. But a person doesn't start at -6. Those extreme views require a culture that normalizes the subtle, seemingly harmless stages above them to survive. To see where that normalization starts, we have to look just below the surface, at stage -1, the unaware and inactive. At this level, a person might genuinely not notice microaggressions, everyday, subtle slights or insults directed at marginalized groups. But staying completely silent when these happen actively upholds the status quo. That silence eventually hardens into stage -2, dismissive and avoidant, where a lack of action turns into conscious minimization. You hear this in the workplace when a colleague actively dodges conversations about equity, rolls their eyes at wokeness, or shuts down discussions by claiming we're all equal now. It sounds relatively harmless, but this casual dismissal creates a completely safe environment for deeper prejudices to take root without any friction. When that friction does finally arrive, the passive avoidance transforms into active pushback at stage -3, hostility and rejection. Here, people openly resist diversity initiatives, outright deny that male privilege exists, and mock inclusive language. A hallmark of this stage is erasing established economic facts, like the gender pay gap, acting as if decades of documented struggle for equal compensation simply never happened. If backed into a corner by facts, the behavior shifts to stage -4, blaming and deflecting. They might acknowledge that inequality exists, but they'll use "not all men" rhetoric to derail the conversation. The ultimate function of this deflection is to place the blame for oppression squarely on women or gender-diverse people themselves. Extremism doesn't appear out of nowhere. Stages -5 and -6 are the direct, unavoidable result of a culture that repeatedly excuses the early warning signs of stages -1 through -4. You cannot dismantle systemic sexism if you wait until it reaches its most radical form. You have to catch it early. These expectations are introduced long before adulthood, baked into the media we consume and the roles assigned to the toys we play with as children. That brings us to the solution. The framework also includes a positive access, a path defined by growth and leadership. When someone notices those early gender differences and meets them with curiosity instead of defensiveness, they enter stage +1, emerging awareness. Asking a simple question about why a stereotype exists is the definitive antidote to the toxic downward slide. That curiosity leads upward to stage +3, where an individual stops deflecting and starts actively exploring their own biases and privileges. Internal reflection turns into outward action at stage +4. Here, people confidently challenge the systemic stereotypes they see in others. The apex of this climb is stage +6, the transformational leader. This is where individuals actively build inclusive systems and champion sweeping policy changes. It forces a hard look at your own baseline. Are you waiting for an extreme act of discrimination to finally speak up, or are you catching the subtle signs at -1? True equity begins the exact moment we decide to stop ignoring the quiet, normalized behaviors we walk past every day.